Hey, it's Dr. Ron Kaiser here, and speaking with you on behalf of the Mental Health Gym, the Rejuvenating Revolution, and Rejuvenating University. And today, I want to talk about persistence. Before that, though, I should apologize a bit. Haven't done any of these Facebook Lives in several days. Uh, Interrupted myself right in the middle of going through the 6 P's of the type P personality because we've just had a lot of construction noise in our unit, and I'm taking advantage of a break in the action to talk about persistence. Now, we've already talked about the first 4 P's on various videos, and I recommend that you review them if you didn't catch them the first time around. And they are personal goal driven, proactive, positive, and passionate. Now, persistence is a very important element of the type P personality, and it's a little different from the others in terms of the fact that if you're not persistent, you have to actually choose to not be persistent. Some things, you may not set goals, not necessarily because of the fact that you're refusing to do so. You may just not have gotten there yet. There may be some things that you operate with without passion because you haven't found your passion yet. But persistence is the perseverance, the stick-to-itiveness, the ability to build resilience by continuing to pursue your goals. And certainly when you have identified areas where you are passionate and can be proactive and positive and so on, then persistence really is something to call upon and will be very, very important. Now, for many people, persistence has not been part of the framework with which they grew up. Too often, people have faced challenges, said, geez, it's hard, and then moved on to something else. But that something else may be hard too. And consequently, if you don't get into the habit of being persistent in the pursuit of your goals, there's a high likelihood that you'll fall short of them. Now, there are a couple of people who gave some terrific quotes with respect to persistence that I think it's real important to kind of review them at this point. Thomas Edison is probably the leading person in this regard, and a couple of his quotes are particularly meaningful. When he was working on the light bulb, he obviously went through lots of iterations of it before getting the right one, and his attitude was, and his quote was, "I have not failed. I've successfully found 10,000 ways that it will not work." So if you've got that attitude, then you're focusing on the process. Being in the process, being in the moment, enables you to persist. Because if you find ways that aren't going to work and you cut that away, you'll eventually get the ones that will work. Another quote of Edison's that's real important is that many of life's failures are people who did not realize how close they were to success when they gave up. And they'll never know it. In other words, wherever you are in the process, when you give up, you can't achieve success. Whereas we don't know if you follow it through to conclusion, you may be very successful. And, I think Edison was obviously right. Another person I look to for quotes when it comes to persistence is Michael Jordan. Many of you know that he didn't initially make his high school basketball team and had other obstacles along the way to becoming arguably the best player in history. There are probably some LeBron James fans and others, Kobe Bryant fans and others who may be having some second thoughts about supporting that. But I think probably if you took a poll of basketball fans in the country, Michael Jordan would probably come in first. But one of his quotes is particularly enlightening when he reflected on his career and said, "I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over and over again, and that is why I succeed." Another important quote of Michael Jordan's was, "If you quit once, it becomes a habit. So never quit." Now, I'm not sure that the statistics are totally accurate in that regard. You may need to quit a few more times for it to become a habit, but there's no doubt that the more often that you quit, the more likely it is to become a habit. And if you achieve the self-image of being a quitter or of falling short when things don't go right, not pursuing it to the end. And again, there are times when it's kind of dumb to do something when we've got all the evidence that indicates it's not going to work. But if you get into the habit of quitting, it becomes easier and easier and easier. And that's what we try and really avoid when we talk about the type P personality. That's why persistence is so important, so that once you have your goals, and once you're proactive in pursuing them, once you think positively and you're passionate, then it is really important to recognize that it may not come easy, but that doesn't mean you quit. It means you persist. There is a substantial difference between achievers and wannabes, and those who persist are the ones who become the achievers. So we've just got one more P to cover, which we will next time, and that's being playful, and how that all fits in will be kind of the topic of our next video. Again, I appreciate those of you who've stuck with it, and more importantly, those of you who are implementing it into your life. Take care. Looking forward to seeing you next time.